Today we're gonna be going over upper body, try that again, on my Instagram. There we go. Okay, where should I stop on that one? What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a highly requested video, which is an upper body mobility routine. I know a lot of us are just sitting at our computers and doing a lot of work and getting really hunched over, so we're gonna work on opening up our muscles in order to be a little bit more mobile and have less rounded shoulders, which is not a look we're trying to go for. So to start off, if you have like a broomstick or a PVC pipe, this is perfect. We're just gonna have our hands nice and wide. Our palms are going to be forwards, and we're just gonna come over and back over our head. So you never wanna go too close where you feel like you're getting stuck and forcing a movement. You always wanna make sure that it's easily over and up. So if you're super wide, that's totally cool. Depending on your mobility, my bun's at the top of my head, but you might just need to have your hair down for this one. So we're gonna go back and forth for a total of 10. So roughly we're gonna do about 2 more. So 1, and then 2. The next one we're gonna do is more like an around the world motion, so it does require a little bit of coordination. So we're actually gonna start this one from the front. Hands are gonna be here, palms facing behind us. We're gonna start with our right arm circling back, being into an overhead position, and then back with the left arm coming down back to our hips. So just a big circular motion for 5. So 3, 4, just warming up those shoulders, and 5. And now the same thing going to the right side. So our left arm's gonna go up, into that overhead position, right arm comes down, back to our hips. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. We can put the PVC pipe down now, and we're just gonna be doing some arm circles. So again, you guys have seen these in a lot of my videos before I do handstands. We just wanna get our shoulders moving a little bit. So we're gonna do about 5 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we're gonna go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Overheads, we're gonna stretch out our lats. That's gonna be our main focus when we're working our overhead mobility, or just our upper body, sorry. We're gonna stretch all the way up. We're gonna lean, making sure that we're not cutting it and going in front of our bodies. We wanna make sure that our line's going straight over top of us like a semicircle, just to make sure we're getting that stretch all the way from through our obliques into our lats and over. So we're gonna hold this for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back up, same thing on the other side. Reaching up nice and tall, and again, right over the top. Big stretch, holding it there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Next what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up our spine a little bit. We're just gonna twist back and forth. Arms are gonna be out. So when we twist to one side, we wanna make sure that we're fully facing the front and the back with our 2 hands. And then switching, same thing. So again, we don't wanna be going too far each direction, only to about 180 each side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we're gonna do 2 more, 7, and 8. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of a leg kick as well. So as we're turning to the left, our left leg is gonna kick and shoot out towards the right. So just a twist here, and same thing on the right. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna do 1 more for 6, and 6. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go all the way up to the top, stretch down to the bottom, and then back up to the top for 5. So we're gonna do big, big reach, stretching all the way up to the ceiling, circle it down to the ground. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're gonna stay at the bottom here. I'm gonna turn sideways just so you can get a better angle. This is to help open up our shoulders. So we're just gonna be here and we're gonna throw our shoulders up for 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. One thing here that I really want you to pay attention to is just making sure that our arms aren't going out too wide. We want to make sure they stay nice and narrow, just because that's how we're going to get the stretch in the lat. So if we go too wide, we're not doing too much. In addition, if you are someone who's tighter in your hamstrings, you can come up a little bit, bend your knees, and same thing, just coming up here. And big movement with the arms. After those, we're gonna come down to the ground. You guys have probably seen me do this a bunch of times as well, but it's child pose. So we're gonna have our feet together, knees slightly apart. We're gonna crawl our arms out, big stretch in the lats, and we're gonna hold this here for 15 seconds. So we'll time it. With each breath, you wanna imagine your fingers stretching further and further away from you and making sure that you're feeling a big stretch right through the sides of your scaps. So we'll go for 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna walk our hands over to the right side, giving us a more emphasis on the left. So imagine that you're taking this shoulder and pushing it to the side of the room, and that's how you're gonna get a bigger stretch on that one side. So we're gonna hold it for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Then we're gonna walk it over to the left side, same thing. Arms gonna be stretched out, again, pushing that shoulder away from you so that we feel more emphasis in your lat. Holding it there for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna come back into the middle. This one's gonna be a little bit more dynamic. So we're gonna start in our child pose, then we're gonna come up, we're gonna get a nice hollow, and then go into our cobra. So from the side, I'm gonna show you. From the child's pose, as we maneuver up, we're gonna protract in our back, tight core, and then let it open, making sure our hips are to the ground, shoulders are pushed back in that cobra, and then again, when you push back, protraction, and then big stretch. So we're gonna go for 5 of these, just to get lots of movement. So protraction, big stretch, opening those shoulders. That's 2. And 3. 4. And then last one, protraction, opening up, and 5. Taking the child's pose to the next level, you're gonna grab the box or a chair, anything elevated. You wanna put just the top of our wrists on the box. We're gonna bring our legs out, and then again, we're gonna stretch and push our shoulders down. Careful that we don't see just an arch, because that way you're taking away from the stretch and just kind of arching through your low back. You wanna make sure your core stays nice and tight, and you're more pushing back and then imagining your armpits being forced into the floor while keeping your core tight. So holding here, again, hands narrow. Depending on your flexibility, you might have to go a little bit wider, but do try to focus on the main thing, being just shoulder width apart. So holding here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna edge ourselves closer. Now we're gonna aim to have our elbows on the box. We're gonna have our hands touching our shoulders. And again, we're gonna try to scoop our head through. Depending on your hairstyle, you might get caught in the box. I'm gonna edge myself out just a little bit further back, tuck my head under, hands on my shoulders, and stretching through here. So this one you're gonna feel more in your triceps, but again, because we are pushing our shoulders to the ground, we're gonna open up our lats as well. So hold it here, core tight, for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly come out of it, coming up. Keeping this same box, we're gonna turn around. So now that we've stretched our lats out overhead, we're now gonna go behind ourselves. So grabbing onto the box or your couch here. I'm gonna actually start from the standing position. We're gonna start and we're gonna lower our thumb, reach the edge of the box, and then open our shoulders. So see how they're rounded? You're gonna open your shoulders and you're gonna hold this position for 15 seconds. So main thing here, again, pushing the shoulders back, keeping a tight core, deep breath. We have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let the shoulders relax, and then release the arms, just so it's a little bit easier to come out of. Same thing, we can do this one on the ground as well, but just fingertips backwards. We're gonna start and edge our bum forward. Again, keeping our arms narrow, not too wide, just shoulder width apart. Edging our bum forward, trying to get our armpits as low to the ground as possible. We're gonna hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly bring it back and then come up. If you are someone who is relatively tight, you might feel a little bit of tension in your elbows, so I would suggest doing the elevated one before doing the floor one, just because it's a little more force downwards if you are a little bit tighter. Next, we're gonna go on to our wrists, because I know this is a huge area that a lot of people ask me about as well, and it is included in our upper body stretching. So very simply, we're gonna start with fingertips towards us, leaning back. We're gonna hold here. I hold each stretch for about 10 seconds for my wrists. So we'll hold for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're just gonna flip them over. So now our palms are facing us. If you're tight, you're gonna be pretty much stacked, but if you have a little more flexibility, try to lean yourself back a little more, just so you have a little more stretch up your forearm. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna flip fingertips forward, palms down, and now we're gonna rock forwards and backs for 5. So 2, keeping our elbows nice and straight. 3, 4, and 5. We're gonna turn our wrists so that way the heels of our hands are close together. And we're gonna rock from left to right for 5. So that's 3, 4, and 5. The next one's a little bit more of an advanced stretch. We're gonna go into an eagle grip. So this one, we're gonna take our arm and we're gonna turn our fingers towards us. So that way our fingertips are towards us and our elbows are out. So our pinky should be in the middle, not just facing out. What is it? Some people do it a different way. That was a mess up, but I was trying to show you the bad way. But just know, this way going in, and then again, this hand turning in so that way the pinkies are facing each other. So ideally, I'd like to see full rotation. But again, if you are someone who's a little bit stiffer, your fingertips might face in a little bit more. So holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly come out. Then we're gonna do my favorite one, which is just the wrist to fist. This one is the best just for priming your wrists for anything like tumbling or handstands. 3, 4, 5, we'll go for 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. The most important thing when it comes to stretching your wrists is just making sure that your arms are always straight, because there's never gonna be a position in your handstands or your tumbling where you're gonna be on a bent arm. You wanna just make sure that everything is nice and straight, locked out, and pressure going forwards just to get that warm up in the wrists. Again, another one of my favorites is our milkshakes or even our roller coasters. These ones I'll often do in between reps of my handstands or my tumbling as well, just because it helps just like lubricate the joints in case you're starting to like tighten up a little bit, or for us in Canada or anywhere cold, you start to get a little bit colder and your joints start to hurt a little bit more. So again, doing movements like this in between your exercises are really helpful. Next, we're gonna go into more of a, again, more dynamic stretching. So we're gonna be laying down on the ground, arms out to the side. We're gonna be coming up with our right knee and we're gonna be going over to the left side. So we're gonna come down and then back up for 5. So 3, 4, and 5. And the 5th one we're gonna hold. We're gonna take our right arm and we're gonna circle it all the way around us, keeping contact with the floor the entire time. So semicircles in that T-spine twist. So that's 3, 4, and then we got one more. And then on the 5th one, again, we're gonna hold here. And instead of circling, we're just gonna open straight, look at that hand, and then come back. 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're gonna take it to the next side, leg go straight, left knee now driving up. We're gonna drop it to the right, and then back up. So my left side is a little bit more tight so I don't get a full drop of the knee. So I'm just working in a range of motion that I'm still able to keep proper positioning with my hands. So my left shoulder is still staying on the ground. It's not leaving to try to drop. We have one more. One, and then we're gonna stay here. So again, we're only gonna work in a range of motion that feels comfortable. I get a little sticky here, so I'll go a little slower, and then back out. 2, 3, 4, and then the last one, 5, and then we're gonna open and look at the hand. And that's 3, 4, and 5. Next, we're gonna lay on our back, arms by our head, just like in a 90 degree, like a goalpost. We're gonna stretch all the way up, arms by our ears, and then come back down. One of the most important things about this one is the low back wants to stay nice and flat. So as you reach up, if you start to arch your back, just know that's your range of motion and you'll have to stop there and then return back to neutral. So pelvis tilted, low back flat, reaching up all the way, arms straight by your ears, and then back down. So we're gonna go for 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're gonna do the exact same thing, but now we're gonna roll over to our stomach. So rolling over, arms nice and straight. This time our shoulders are gonna be off the ground. Our glutes are squeezed. We're gonna have our arms in that goalpost position. We're gonna go all the way up overhead, nice and straight, and then back down for 5. So 2, 3, 4, and 5. Staying here, again, this is part mobility, but we're also gonna try to strengthen a little bit for our upper body. And again, bringing that chest up, so making sure those muscles are working especially for our posture. So arms just on the back of our head, we're gonna start on the ground. We're gonna lift, hold, and then back down for 5. 2, making sure our elbows stay wide, they're not dropping forward. 3, 4, and 5. Good. Coming into a downward dog position, a tabletop position. On all fours, we're gonna do our cats and camels, another one of my favorites. So hunching our back, big protraction, and then letting it go, reaching up, arching our head back. The biggest mistake I often see with this one is as you come into the arch, a lot of people bend their elbows, making sure, again, we're just staying as straight as we can, nice and locked out. So protract, and then arch. We're gonna do 3 more. Protract, arch and look up, arms nice and straight. 4, 1 more, and 5. Last dynamic stretch we're gonna do on the ground is we're just gonna straighten our knees, or straighten our legs, and we're gonna push our head through our hands and then rock back to be stacked. So opening those shoulders, big stretch, and then back. Again, we wanna be shoulder width apart, not too wide with our hands. So we wanna focus on those lats. 3, push back. 4, we'll do 1 more, and 5. Good. So a lot of those stretches are ones that I do for just my everyday upper body mobility routine, especially if I'm feeling a little bit tighter because I've worked a heavy chest day or a heavy pull day. Just making sure to hit all those stretches for both our shoulders and our lats is super important. A good way to test your overhead mobility, we're gonna go over to the wall and I'm gonna show you that one next. So now we're gonna be at the wall. So again, like I said, a great way to test your overhead mobility to see if you need to do mobility stretching, which everyone does. But if you just wanna get a sense of where you're starting at and you can kind of test your progress, we wanna come against the wall, similar to the one we did on the floor, but now we're standing. We're gonna have, again, our low back flat against the wall, arms up in our goalpost position, and coming up, trying to get above, over the head, here. So if you're someone who can't fully straighten their arms and have contact with the wall, or you start to arch your back, that's a good indicator of how mobile you are in your lats. So again, if you're here and you start to arch, then you're someone who definitely needs to work mobility. Even me, when I'm doing it, I feel a little bit of tightness right around here in my lats. and I have to really focus on keeping my core tight and stretching up into my fingertips to keep that contact on the wall. So I definitely have some work to do as well for my own mobility. A couple of the ones that we did on the floor can easily be done on the wall as well if you do find you're super tight. So for instance, the circling one can be modified on the wall. We're gonna take our left leg forward. We're gonna have our, sorry, this is my right leg, your right leg forward and your right arm against the wall. And it's the same circular motion, but you're not in that forced T-spine position. So you'd start here, palm would be facing outwards, then we're gonna get to the top, flip it, and then come back. So we're getting a big stretch. So again, this is just another variation that you can do if the ones on the floor seem just a little bit too forced or you're not getting enough range of motion. Same thing on the left side, it would be left foot forward, left arm, palm facing forward, then we're gonna flip it, and then reaching back, and then coming forward again. So again, we wanna keep contact on the wall the entire time, and then coming back. Another one that we can do, remember the opening up our chest. Again, if you're someone where it's like, this is really tight and it's very uncomfortable, we can just simply do this against the wall by opening up our chest. We're gonna put our arm flat, and then we're just gonna open and push our shoulder forward. So this is gonna help open up that chest position if you're someone who can't actively do it on the floor. So holding for about 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then we're gonna switch. So again, palm flat, super important. You wanna make sure it's in line with our shoulders so we're not behind us and we're not too far in front of us. Right in line, pushing out. And again, we wanna focus on this armpit, going out on a 45-degree angle and pushing that way. So that way we feel a nice big stretch. So holding this one again for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So those are my go-to stretches for my upper body mobility routine. Sometimes I'll do a long stretching routine that is around 20 to 30 minutes. Other times I'll just hand pick a couple where I'm feeling extra tight. So if I just worked a pull day, I'll focus more on my lats, whereas if it's push, I'll focus more on the shoulder ones. Again, these ones can be done all together or separate. And if you guys like this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. And if you do like mobility routines or even workout routines, don't forget that I do have my app. My app has a large variety of routines on there, from gymnastics routines, as well as ab workouts, HIIT, mobility. And in addition to, in the new year, we do have a challenge coming up. So if you are someone who's wanting to get their handstand, make sure to check that out. Again, my app is just simply this link right here. And hopefully I will see you guys there, and hope you have a great day.